Number 1.
9-year-old Serenity Dennard was last seen on February 3, 2019 in Rockerville, South Dakota. She walked away from the Black Hills Children's Home on South Rockerville Road and hasn't been seen since. At the time of her disappearance, Serenity was in the inpatient program at the Black Hills Children's Home near Rockerville in rural South Dakota. The facility, located at 24,100 South Rockerville Road in Rapid City, is a facility that provides schooling and therapy for children struggling with abuse, trauma, and mental and behavioral health issues. Serenity's primary parents, when she disappeared, said she had been having behavioral problems due to the trauma of being removed from her biological parents and having to live with more than a dozen different foster families. Serenity began her stay at the home in July 2018 for what is typically a 14-month admission. A week before she disappeared, Serenity had run away from the children's home and as a result was put her under special monitoring. That extra monitoring ended right before February 3. Serenity Dennard ran away from the Black Hills Children's Home on South Rockerville Road around 10:45 a.m. on February 3, 2019. A witness who was dropping off a relative at the home on February 3 reported seeing Serenity in front of the children's home heading north on South Rockerville Road at 11 a.m. This is the last verified sighting of Serenity. The witness, recognizing that Serenity was running away, alerted the staff inside and tried to follow her, but lost sight of her due to the trees and topography. According to staff at the home, Serenity ran outside the gym after another child ran off within the facility. The remaining staff member, who was watching the children in the gym, called for help rather than follow Serenity outside and leave the others behind. At 12:26 p.m. the staff called 911 to report Serenity missing after being unable to locate her. A deputy arrived on the scene around 12:45 p.m. and by 1:15 p.m. 4 deputies were on site. Additional assistance was requested from Pennington County Search and Rescue at 1:28 p.m. Extensive searches took place for Serenity, with more than 1,500 people covering 6,000 miles of woodlands during 220 separate search attempts. Cadaver dogs picked up a scent near a creek, but no evidence as to Serenity's location was found. According to authorities, 275 leads were followed and 538 interviews conducted over the course of nearly 2 years. In January of 2021, the Pennington County Sheriff's Office announced they were suspending their search for Serenity Dennard. The case remains open, and they're urging the public to come forward with any new information or tips regarding her disappearance. The location of Serenity Dennard remains unknown, as well as the circumstances regarding her disappearance. Authorities have not ruled anything out, but their working theory is that Serenity ran into the woods, got lost, and died of hypothermia. In January of 2021, authorities suspended their search for Serenity. Her case remains unsolved. Caucasian female with shoulder-length blonde hair and blue eyes. At the time of her disappearance, Serenity stood 4'7" and weighed 96 pounds. She was last seen wearing a long-sleeved gray shirt with flowers, a purple tank top, dark blue stone-washed jeans and black snow boots. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Serenity Dennard, please contact the Pennington County Sheriff's Office at 605-394-6113 or 605-394-6115.
Number 2.
33-year-old Jeramy Burt was last seen in Boise, Idaho on February 11, 2007. He disappeared after texting his ex-wife about plans to start a new life. Jeramy Carl Burt was born on June 18, 1973 to parents Van and Cheryl Burt and grew up in American Falls, Idaho. During his childhood, Burt was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. He attended American Falls High School, where he played football and ran track. After graduating high school in 1991, Burt joined the U.S. Navy and served in the Gulf War between 1993 and 1999. While stationed in Japan, he met his first wife Rena. They married, but the relationship quickly ended and she returned to Japan. Burt later became romantically involved with Kim George. In 2003, the pair married and had a daughter. However, their marriage fell apart and they divorced during that same year. In 2007, Burt and his ex-wife remained good friends in order to raise their daughter. They continued to live together at his father's house on 2200 Hervey Street in Boise, Idaho. Burt owned and operated Integrity Roofing, a roofing contractor company in Idaho. On February 10, 2007, Burt and his daughter left for a weekend trip to visit his mother in American Falls and family members in Pocatello. On February 11, 2007, Burt drove back home to Boise with his daughter. Around 10 p.m., he made a call to his ex-wife who had flown out for a work conference in Las Vegas on the same day. Around 10:30 p.m., Burt asked his father to watch over his daughter while he went to visit a friend's home to discuss a new hunting bow that he had just purchased. Burt never arrived at his destination and has not been heard from again. On February 13, 2007, his ex-wife began receiving mysterious text messages sent from his cellular phone. He mentioned plans to leave his family and start a new life. They texted back and forth, and she quickly became suspicious that the text messages were not actually from him. He did not answer when she tried to phone him. On February 17, 2007, his ex-wife filed a missing persons report with the Boise Police Department. An auto theft report was also filed when her vehicle, a red Mercury Cougar, was found to be missing. On May 18, 2007, a burned red Mercury Cougar vehicle was discovered by cowboys in a remote area of OE Desert in southwest Idaho, 45 miles north of the Nevada-Utah border. Authorities searched the area around the car but found no sign of Jeramy Burt's whereabouts. The car was found in a desolate ravine where it would have been difficult terrain for the car to have driven. Jeramy Burt hired attorney Jeannie Braun to assist in the divorce proceedings involving his first wife Rena, which was finalized in May 2002. They began an affair around the time he separated from his second wife Kim George. Their relationship ended when Burt testified against her in front of a grand jury in 2004. Burt had secretly tape-recorded their conversations about illegal activity she was involved in. Braun pleaded guilty to forging a judge's signature on documents in a custody case, influencing a witness, and issuing a check without funds. Braun was subsequently sentenced to 1 year in the Ada County Jail and 14 years on probation. She was also disbarred from practicing law in the state of Idaho. Following Jeramy Burt's disappearance, Braun took a polygraph test, but authorities did not release her results. She denied her involvement in his disappearance and claimed they had no contact for months. Braun was released from probation in 2013 and now resides in Utah. Foul play is strongly suspected in Jeramy Burt's disappearance. Family members say it would be unlikely for him to disappear and abandon his young daughter. On July 4, 2016, Burt's ex-wife, who had since remarried, died of an apparent suicide. Their daughter now lives in Boise, Idaho with her stepfather. The circumstances of Jeramy Burt's disappearance remain unclear, and his case is currently classified as missing. His case remains unsolved. Caucasian male with brown hair and hazel eyes. He is 6'2" tall and weighs 197 pounds. Burt had a goatee. He has a scar on his knee and a 2-inch scar on the left side of his chest. Jeramy was last seen wearing a dark-colored turtleneck and a pair of Levi's jeans. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Jeramy Burt, please contact the Boise Police Department at 208-321-0588 or 208-570-6290.
Number 3.
The strange story of April Beth Pitzer started when she was just a young woman in her 20s. At the age of just 22, April was arrested for a DUI offense in the state of Arkansas after giving a ride to 2 acquaintances, which was only made worse when the police found an amount of methamphetamines on the 2 friends. They were in big trouble, but April, who had no prior offenses, was offered an out. Under interrogation, authorities offered to drop the charges against her if she agreed to become a drug informant for them, and being young, and scared she accepted. She then was assigned to infiltrate a major drug ring in Arkansas, but at some point was compromised and told to move away from the state for her own safety. April did as was told, moving to Texas, where her life went back to normal, and she married Chase Pitzer. It seemed that things were back to normal for a while, but this was not meant to last, and she was about to embark on a bizarre odyssey that would end with her walking off the face of the earth. One day, there was a knock at the door, and April, who was pregnant with her first child at the time, opened it to find two DEA agents standing there looking somber. They wasted no time in getting down to business and told her in no uncertain terms that she was required to go back to Arkansas to take part in a crucial trial as a key federal witness against the very drug ring she had been involved with infiltrating. She grudgingly went along with it, and thanks to her testimony dozens of drug dealers were put behind bars, but when the trial ended and she went back to Texas, her dark past followed her. Over the years she became increasingly paranoid and unhinged, constantly looking over her shoulder and talking about being followed, watched, and stalked by nefarious parties. She would have 2 daughters, and she refused to let them sleep alone, convinced that someone was out to get them, and her general change in behavior began to test her marriage. April's descent spiraled into alcohol abuse, and she lost weight to the point that she was a gaunt, pale wraith that her friends and family barely recognized anymore, and adding to this was a diagnosis for bipolar disorder for which medication did not seem to help. Her marriage disintegrated under the burden of all of this, and so April took her 2 kids and moved to an apartment, and she tried to make ends meet by working at a convenience store. For a while this worked out all right, but it was only a matter of time before the next tragic chapter of her life would begin. April's ex-husband and family came after her for the kids, citing her inability to care for them due to her mental health issues, and she would lose both daughters when all was said and done. This only caused her to drop into further depression, and after meeting a new love interest, she moved to the tiny town of Newberry Springs, California, perched on the edge of the Mojave Desert. Unfortunately, she found herself turning to drug use, and she began hanging out with the wrong crowd and getting involved with the booming methamphetamine trade in the area, eventually becoming homeless, working occasionally as a caregiver for an elderly invalid by the name of Barbara Killebrew. Throughout all of this, she had not even told her own mother, Gloria, about how low her life had sunk, or even that she had moved to California, but she came clean at the urging of Killebrew. Her worried mother then told her to take a bus home to Arkansas to visit, and April began making her plans. Things became even more tense when some of the drug dealers in the area got wind that April had been an informant, and it became more important than ever that she leave as fast as she could, in the meantime staying at the house of a friend, a man named Chuck Hollister. April was excited about going back home and possibly even reconciling with her husband, but then her regular contact with her mother suddenly stopped, and the trip would never come. 8 days would pass without any other further contact from April, and her mother became worried. Gloria tried to call Hollister's house on several occasions, but no one would pick up the phone, and although April's friend reported that she had dropped the woman off at a bus stop on June 28, 2004 to board a bus to Arkansas, she had never arrived. Barbara Killebrew also concurred that April had told her she was heading off on the bus, so it was all very strange and was enough to convince Gloria to contact the authorities to report her daughter as a missing person. Unfortunately, considering April's tumultuous past, the sheriff's departments did not take it very seriously and just wrote it off as the troubled young woman running off or in hiding for a while. It wasn't until a month had passed that they would begin to look into it seriously and began distributing flyers and actively investigating. In the meantime, Gloria finally got in touch with Hollister, who explained that the reason he had not been picking up the phone was that he had been out of town in Oregon. He seemed to be surprised that April had never arrived in Arkansas and claimed that April had told him she was leaving and then moved out. There were several suspicious things with Hollister, such as the fact that he told conflicting stories to police officers who questioned him, he refused to let anyone search his property, and he changed his phone number soon after Gloria had called him. Making it even spookier was that in Oregon there was found a message scrawled on a men's bathroom stall that read, "Looking for missing girl from Arkansas? 3 miles east of Barstow, 1 to 15 freeway." Nevertheless, there was nothing at all to conclusively prove that he had anything to do with April's disappearance or that note, and he was dropped as a possible suspect. He would later pass away, taking any secrets he had to the grave with him. Another weird clue came in when in September of 2004, a bus driver called police to report that a flyer had been posted in his bus and another writer had commented that she was in a hole. Amazingly, police were actually able to hunt this person down, and the young woman elaborated that she had met April at a party and had heard a rumor that April had been killed and thrown in a mine shaft. This seemed like a promising lead, but considering they didn't know exactly which mine shaft it was in an area littered with them, it was impossible to follow up on it. The case went cold until a full 8 months after the vanishing, when there was a strange report of someone trying to open a cell phone account on April's name, but this led to no suspects, and there was still no evidence that there was anything going on here other than a mentally distraught woman running away from her life. Then in 2005 a new discovery was made at a place called Red Dog Mine in a remote area of the Mojave Desert, where a white suitcase matching the description of April's suitcase was found with woman's clothing in it, with a bloody mattress eerily found not far away from it. Oddly, the mine was owned by a man named Dan Dansbury, who was friends with the by then deceased Chuck Hollister. All around the mine, where this was enough, that a full search of the mine was carried out with cadaver dogs, but nothing was found, and police were certain that April was not there. Interestingly, Dansbury would die of cancer not long after this and take any secrets to his grave as well. That same year, more women's clothing was found in a shack at a nearby mine called the Indian Queen, but no trace of April's body was found there either. No other evidence of April Pitzer has ever been found, no new leads, no suspects, no concrete proof of foul play, nothing. Although she was declared legally dead in 2012, authorities have pointed out that there is not even any evidence that she ever died at all. What happened to this troubled young woman? Was she a tragic victim of foul play, perhaps her drug past coming back to get her? Did she simply lose her mind and succumb to her strife to slip off the grid? What is the meaning of all of the strange clues surrounding her case? We don't know, and in the meantime, April Pitzer remains mystery. The circumstances surrounding it all murky and uncertain.
Number 4.
19-year-old Ganignunt Aiemsakul, known as Felicia to her friends and family, was last seen on March 4, 2002 in Gaithersburg, Maryland. She disappeared from the 8200 block of Goodhurst Drive around 2 a.m. following an argument with her boyfriend. At the time of her disappearance, Aiemsakul lived with her mother and stepfather in the 200 block of Tulip Drive in the Deer Park neighborhood in Gaithersburg, Maryland. She was a student at the Rockville campus of Montgomery Community College and worked at the Red Lobster restaurant on Shady Grove Road. She enjoyed playing pool and was known to frequent the billiard parlor on Schufer School Road, as well as the Soho coffee shop Connecticut Avenue. Ganignunt Aiemsakul was last seen in Gaithersburg, Maryland at approximately 2 a.m. on March 4, 2002. According to her ex-boyfriend, they had an argument at his residence in the 8200 block of Goodhurst Drive in the Laytonsville area around 2 a.m., and she walked away shortly afterwards. She never returned home and hasn't been seen or heard from since. Authorities searched the area surrounding Aiemsakul's ex-boyfriend's home after she was reported missing, but no evidence related to her disappearance was found. There has been no activity on her credit cards or phone since she went missing. Her parents believe her ex-boyfriend had something to do with her disappearance, stating that he was obsessive and would not leave her alone after they broke up. According to reports, her ex-boyfriend stopped cooperating with the investigation, but police have not publicly named him as a suspect in her case. Police consider the circumstances regarding Aiemsakul's disappearance suspicious since there was no activity on her phone or credit cards and believe foul play was involved. Aiemsakul's parents believe her ex-boyfriend had something to do with her disappearance. In August of 2021, the Montgomery County Police Department issued a press release stating a tip they received in 2020 led them to believe that Aiemsakul is deceased. No additional information about the tip was given, though police say their investigation is ongoing. The circumstances regarding Ganignunt Aiemsakul's disappearance are still unknown, and her case remains unsolved. Asian female born on November 9, 1982 with long black hair and brown eyes. She stands 5'4", weighs 125 pounds, and wears contact lenses. She has a tattoo of a scorpion on her waist and a tattoo on her right lower back. Ganignunt was last seen wearing a lightweight, 3/4 length black jacket, dark pants, and black tennis shoes. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Ganignunt Aiemsakul, please contact the Montgomery County Police Department at 301-279-8000 or the Crime Solvers of Montgomery County at 866-411 tips 8477.
Number 5.
31-year-old Donnie Martin III was last seen on August 3, 2017 in Madison Heights, Michigan. He left his job around noon, located near 10 Mile Road and DeQuinder Road, and hasn't been seen or heard from since. On August 3, 2017, Donnie Martin III went to his tree trimming job in Madison Heights, Michigan, located near 10 Mile Road and DeQuinder. Around 11:30 a.m., he left on foot after getting paid. He was offered a ride home by his brother-in-law, but Donnie declined, saying he'd walk instead. He hasn't been seen since. The last person who spoke to Donnie was his girlfriend when he sent her a text about 20 minutes after he left work. Both she and Donnie's family tried reaching him by phone, but were unable to make contact with him. At 11 p.m. the next day, Donnie was reported missing by his father. Attempts to trace Donnie's cell phone signal were made by police, but to no avail. Authorities canvassed the area between 7 Mile and 8 Mile Roads on John R. Road and west to Woodward Avenue, asking around if anyone recognized him. Photos were also provided to police in Detroit and Hamtramck. Donnie's family has been working with the police and Crime Stoppers, putting up missing person flyers all over Detroit and Madison Heights. Police say Donnie is known to frequent the area of John R. Street and State Fair Avenue in Detroit, and that he may have gone there before he disappeared, but they have not found concrete evidence as to his whereabouts. Authorities don't know whether this is a case where Donnie left on his own and doesn't want to be found, or whether foul play was involved. His family is worried that his opiate addiction could be the reason why he went missing. His addiction started after he got hurt a couple of times on the job, leading to him being prescribed pain pills. Donnie's case is classified as endangered missing and remains unsolved. Donnie was last seen wearing a red shirt with a ABK Tree Service logo, blue jeans and tennis shoes. He has a tattoo of Martin on his lower back in all caps, Chinese writing on his neck, and multiple tattoos on his hands and arms. He has a piercing below his right eye, and his left nostril is pierced. If you have seen Donnie Martin III or have any information regarding his whereabouts, please contact Madison Heights Sergeant Hatunian at 248-585-2100 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-SPEAK-UP, 1-800-773-2587. Crime Stoppers is offering a cash reward of $2,500 for information that leads to the arrest of the person or persons responsible.
Number 6.
17-year-old Craig Frear was last seen in Scotia, New York on June 27, 2004. He was visiting a friend in the area and was last seen around 2 p.m., walking into the woods nearby. He hasn't been seen or heard from since. On the afternoon of June 27, 2004, Craig Frear was visiting a friend in the Cambridge Manor apartment complex in Scotia, New York. At approximately 2 p.m., he was seen walking into the woods nearby. Craig never returned to the apartment complex, leaving his car behind. He did not have his cell phone on him when he disappeared. He said he was heading back to his family home on Yorkshire Court and that he'd be there in about 10 minutes, but never arrived. It is unknown why he was walking home from the complex since he had driven a car there. His mother reported him missing later that evening when he didn't return home as expected. His case wasn't publicized by his family initially because they believed Craig may have left on his own and they wanted to let him work on whatever was bothering him. On the day he disappeared, they learned that he had lost his job at the Price Chopper supermarket and had been pretending to work there for weeks after he was fired. Craig had lost his driver's license before he went missing and never obtained a new one. His social security number has not been used since he disappeared. He left his wallet and $40 behind in his bedroom. The friend Craig was visiting at the apartment complex says he was upset over a recent breakup with his girlfriend, but didn't indicate he was planning to run away or harm himself. Craig had argued with his mother over the phone about losing his job, but told her he was heading home and that he'd be there in 10 minutes. State police joined the investigation in 2006 after it was initially handled by local agencies. They tracked 400 leads, have given polygraph tests to his friends and family, and have conducted hundreds of interviews. Ground searches with cadaver dogs have been conducted in the area he was last seen, and the Mohawk River has been searched, but no trace of Craig has been found. In 2021, investigators released new information regarding a possible lead in Craig's disappearance. A co-worker of Craig's believes he saw him in the passenger seat of a vehicle traveling north on Route 50 in Glenville, north of Scotia. The vehicle stopped at the traffic light at Sheffield Road and turned left. The sighting was sometime between June 27 and July 2, 2004, and police are currently working to verify the potential lead. Investigators don't believe Craig Frear left on his own or committed suicide. They believe he may have been met with foul play. His loved ones believe he was met with harm, but the circumstances regarding his disappearance remain unclear. They say it's uncharacteristic of him to leave without warning. He did run away once in his early teens, but was only gone for one night. He has no criminal history or history of behavioral problems. At the time of his disappearance, Craig had just finished his junior year at Scotia Glenville High School and was co-captain of the soccer team. Several colleges were looking to recruit him for his athletic skills. Craig's case is classified as endangered missing and remains unsolved. Caucasian male born on October 14, 1986. He has red hair, brown eyes, and has dimples. He stands 5'11" and weighs 190 pounds. Craig was last seen wearing blue jean shorts, a white long-sleeved t-shirt, white Adidas sneakers with black stripes, and a yellow gold chain with a gold St. Christopher medal on it. According to his mother, he may have been wearing cotton boxer briefs with a design or dark-colored Hanes boxer briefs. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Craig Frear, please contact the New York State Police at 518-630-1700 or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 800-THE-LOST.